to my channel. We did it. Avengers Endgame has arrived, and today I'm going to talk about it, tell you guys whether or not I liked it. I may have spoiled that already just with my facial expressions. I can't contain the excitement. I am so excited, not just for me to tell you guys my review, but I want to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought about this movie. Non-spoilers, so nothing in this review will hold any kind of hint as to what happens in the actual film. I will save that for my in-depth, really long, probably really long spoiler review, but that's later. This is now. We're talking Avengers, and let's get right into it. So after the devastating events of Avengers Infinity War, the universe is in ruins. With help of the remaining allies, the Avengers assemble once more in order to undo Thanos' actions and restore order to the universe. Now, all right, what to say about this movie that does not include spoilers? Well, it's going to be a hard task, but I'm going to try my best to encourage you guys to see it if you're not going to see it already. And let's face it, everyone on the planet is going to see this film. So if you haven't seen it yet, am I going to be disappointed if I have invested myself in this universe since 2008? I don't see that happening. And the reason why is because I feel as if this film does a wonderful job of mixing things that we have loved, we do love, and you hopefully will love once you see the movie. It does it all seamlessly, and it is a wonderful story with wonderful characters, but we will get into all that. Will this movie disappoint me if I'm not the biggest fan? I don't know if I see that happening either, and the reason why is because this film is a very distinct 3 separate parts. No spoilers, don't worry. The first hour is bringing us back to the characters that we know and love, and really the build-up into the second hour, and the second hour is one of the most fun and nostalgic things I have ever seen in a superhero movie. All of the character development and the things that harken back to the movies that we know and love in the MCU, that is wonderful. But the final hour is something that I never could have imagined seeing on the big screen. Being a big fan of the comics and what Marvel is on the pages, now what they are on screen, I never could have imagined, even with the airport battle in Civil War and the battle in Wakanda in Infinity War, I never thought we would see the third act of this movie, because it takes both of those things, and in my opinion, it's significantly bigger, and I will say as of right now, better. Now, yes, I am on the high of just seeing the film, so of course I'm going to come out of it glowing, but it's not just the grand scale of this film. That's not really why I think a lot of people are loving this movie. I think a lot of people are loving this film because of the emotion within the characters that we have basically grown up with, guys. 2008, I was 13 years old. I grew up with Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all of these characters I love so much, and they spend those first 2 hours fleshing them out. Not that they need to be fleshed out, because they've already been fleshed out, but there's more character development, and we understand where they are in their lives, and I love that this movie just keeps hitting on the theme of loss. We have lost those that we love. We have lost those that we care about, and that theme is all throughout this film. It goes all the way until the end, and it manages to bring the character development, the emotion, and the epic action. Don't worry, guys, I'm not leaving that out. All throughout the film. Austin, how is the payoff? How is the end of the film? Not just the last hour, which is epic beyond all belief, but the final few moments of the last movie in the Infinity Saga. Guys, the whole movie is emotional. The whole movie is chock full of things that will make you cry, things that will make you scream from excitement, things that will make you go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could do this in a movie. All of those things are in there, but the emotion is what I want to hit on. And bring your tissues, bring your sunglasses for when you start crying, because the movie does get very emotional. But don't worry about that. You know what? Don't even bring sunglasses, because everyone around you is going to be feeling the same way. When people were screaming, everyone was screaming. When the film required the audience to be quiet, and this is a hard thing to do, especially in a theater packed full of comic book geeky, nerdy people who are ready to scream, when the movie needs the audience to be quiet, they are quiet because they're so invested, because of what's happening on screen, and because of the beautiful emotion that came from the characters. Now, performance-wise, who blew me away in this film? Well, Robert Downey Jr., of course, he always kills it, but there is a new layer to his character in this movie. You guys will see it when you see the movie, and beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. He is phenomenal in the film. Chris Evans, of course, Captain America, my favorite Avenger. What a story arc in this film. A lot of things that I didn't expect with this character, but I absolutely loved it. Thor is great. And talking about a character arc that I did not expect in this film, he is so good. The original 6 Avengers, all of them kill it. Things happen with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk that you don't expect to happen. The original 6 Avengers, they're all so good. I had multiple people ask me walking out of the theater, do you think Robert Downey Jr. could get nominated for an Oscar? Listen, the Oscars don't tend to pay attention to movies on this scale, in the blockbuster genre, if you will, with superheroes and action like this, especially with a third act this grand and crazy, full of so much intense action. I don't know, guys. This movie is, it's something else. It's something that you don't expect, and because of that, and because I didn't anticipate a lot of things happening in this film, I think it's going to blow a lot of people away from a narrative standpoint, and those tend to be the movies that get considered for awards. And not that I need this movie to get considered for any kind of award, because that doesn't mean it makes it any better for me. Listen, Avengers Endgame is phenomenal because I believe it is phenomenal because of what I felt coming out of that theater, because of how I felt on the ride home. There's a lot that goes in to talking about this movie because there's so much in there with these characters that you know and love. And I know I keep saying that, guys, but this is just, it really is the culmination. And we thought that was Infinity War. You thought wrong. Avengers Endgame is the culmination of everything in the MCU, and what a beautiful film. The Russo brothers, I have to give them kudos because it's not just fan service. Okay, it is fan service. Pretty much the entire movie is fan service. Things that I've always wanted to see happen, but it's not just that. It's a really good movie, and within that movie is fan service, and within that movie is incredible action and directed almost flawlessly by the Russo brothers. The fact that they managed to pull off both Infinity War and Endgame is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it, and frankly, I don't think we ever will see anything like it again. And this movie, I believe, is going to make a lot of people look back on other movies in the MCU and say, you know what? Maybe I like that a bit more just because of what it did to the character to get us to this point, because you care about everyone in Endgame. And yeah, I don't want to say too much more in this review. If you guys can't tell, I love this movie. I had a wonderful experience. It's not as complicated in terms of story as I anticipated it to be. I did not know how they were going to pull this off. And then once the movie starts, you're like, oh, makes a lot of sense. And then there are some things, I have to see the movie multiple times, of course, within the next 3 days. But there are some things that I'm looking at, I'm thinking about, and I'm going, you know what? I don't know if that makes 100% sense just yet, because there are things involved with this film that if you think too hard, you could be like, well, I don't know. Once again, it's a movie about a guy who turns big and green, about a talking raccoon, about a big purple dude who comes down from space and wipes out half the universe. Guys, suspension of disbelief is something that you have to do with a lot of these comic book movies, so I am willing to give those things a pass, but it is definitely something I'm going to have to think about. Overall, if we're talking nitpicks, because it's a review, I have to give the good, I have to give the bad. Some slow parts, maybe 1 or 2 storylines that they could have done without. Maybe this movie didn't have to be 3 hours. I'm so glad it was, but maybe it did not have to be. But you know, no movie is perfect. There are so many films that come close to being perfect. I can look at a movie and say, you know what, that is perfect, but there's always going to be a nitpick. And I do have nitpicks with Avengers Endgame, but I have to take into account my time in the theater, my experience, the way that the movie made me feel, all of the emotions, all of the things that I never thought I could see on screen and I saw in this movie. And because of all of those things, this is the first time that I have done this in a long time. I'm giving Avengers Endgame a 100%. It is by far my favorite movie of this year. It is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. This film did what I've always wanted to see on screen, and I had an absolute blast with it, and I cannot wait to go back and see it again, talk about it in my spoiler review that is coming, give you guys all 22 movies in the MCU ranked. That video will be tomorrow early, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to get in that comment section down below. Let me know what you thought, non-spoilery, because this, of course, is a non-spoiler review. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much once again for watching my videos, and I will catch you very soon.